Thanks for listening to the Thyroid Fixxr podcast with your host, me, Dr. Amie Hornaman, aka the Thyroid Fixxr. Also, functional medicine practitioner, hormone and weight loss expert. We're talking all things thyroid, hormone, and health related in order to empower, educate, and transform you. Remember, I fix your thyroid, I fix your hormones, I fix your life. So let's get started. So let's just go back to the basics. So many times I gear my podcast to a little bit more advanced, or at least people that are in the, problem aware stage that I always hear in my business groups. You guys know you have a problem, right? You know that something is going on. So let's go back to the problem aware stage where you know what's going on. You know there's something going on. You just don't know what it is. So this is going to be a game changer for you, and you can probably hear the excitement in my voice. The latest introduction, the latest member of the family to the Fixxr line is Metabolism Fixxr. And this, oh my God, I formulated this just for all my people out there that need to lose weight, that need help in the weight loss department, that can't lose weight no matter what they do, that feel like they have a slow metabolism, and that might be thinking of trying all those peptides out there, the Beverly Hills soccer mom drug of choice for weight loss peptides. Or even if you're on them already and you're like, man, these are really expensive and I'm still not losing weight, add in Metabolism Fixxr. Here's what I did. I took the power of T2, which increases your basal metabolic rate while you are sitting there watching Netflix. You're burning fat while you're watching Netflix. I combined it with a very unique patented ingredient called Suppressa. Suppressa has multiple clinical trials backing its efficacy in reducing your appetite, decreasing snacking, and providing way more control over your food intake. It is amazing. We also see improved emotional well-being, just decreased food cravings all around, reduced hunger, and weight management. Add on top of that, we have green tea extract, we have purple forest purple tea extract, both of which affect the metabolism in a very positive way without the jitters of normal fat burning supplements out there from the 1980s and 90s, right? The ones that made you feel like you're having a heart attack. You will not have that in any of my supplements, Thyroid Fixxr or Metabolism Fixxr. But Metabolism Fixxr, we kicked it up a notch. It is in powder form, so you can drink it through your day. It's going to flavor your water. We got orange crush and refreshing citrus. I love them both. It is going to keep you under control all day long. So you throw a couple scoops in your water bottle in the morning, throw a scoop or two in your water bottle throughout the day. You will have fat burning and appetite control the entire day for what? An eighth of a price of the peptides? Oh my God, you can't go wrong. So grab some Metabolism Fixxr today. Please let me know how you do on it. I am super excited for you. Super excited. You're listening to your body, like I always say, and you're tuning in and you're going for testing. So again, back to the basics. What tests should you ask for? When you go in to your doctor's office, here's what I want you to do. I want you to bullet list your symptoms first, because that's going to give them CBT codes or diagnostic codes to be able to run through your insurance if you have it. And then I want you to ask for TSH, free T4, free T3, reverse T3, and the TPO and TGA antibodies. So let me break those down and tell you what those are. And of course, you can always grab the entire list from my lab and symptom checklist. We'll link to that in the show notes. That will also give you the optimal ranges for each, but we're going to go over those right now. TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone. It is released by the pituitary. So the hypothalamus talks to the pituitary. The pituitary talks to your thyroid. If it senses that there is not enough thyroid hormone being made by the thyroid, it'll poke it. It'll wake it up. It'll say, hey, buddy, you got to get up and do your job. So pituitary sends out thyroid stimulating hormone. So TSH is not a thyroid hormone. It is a pituitary hormone. and it nudges the thyroid gland to make more thyroid hormone. Now, what are those thyroid hormones? Free T3 and free T4. T4 is inactive. It's your storage. It's the vault. That's where your thyroid hormone is stored. You don't have receptor sites on your cell for T4. T3 is the active thyroid hormone. That's where your receptor site is on the cell. It's for T3. T3 comes in and connects to that receptor site on your cell, and that's what activates the cell. That's what runs your metabolism and grows your hair and gives you good skin and nails and lifts your brain fog and helps with constipation. That's T3. That's the active thyroid hormone. So we want a free T3 and a free T4 to see what your levels are of the active thyroid hormone in your bloodstream. And there's various scenarios. We're not going to go into this today of, okay, if this is high and this is low and here's what your optimal is. So that's why I encourage you to download that guide, that lab and symptom checklist guide. That way you will have what the optimal ranges are right there at your fingertips. Also, we want to test reverse T3. What is reverse T3? Just because it has T3 in it doesn't mean it's good. That is your anti-thyroid hormone. So reverse T3 will increase when you are in a trauma state. So if you're in the ICU, if you're in the ER, your reverse T3 will go up because it's your body's survival mechanism to shut down all processes that don't need to be going on right now because we need you to survive, because you're in a trauma, you're dealing with an injury. But we don't want your reverse T3 elevated. I mean, that's great for keeping you alive, but we don't want you walking around with an elevated reverse T3 because your metabolism will be in the basement. You will have no metabolism. You won't grow your hair because your body is that smart. It knows that when you are in a life and death situation, you don't need to burn fat and you don't need to grow your hair. So it raises reverse T3 to shut those processes down. Now, if you're walking around with high reverse T3, what good does that do you? You're always walking around in a low metabolism state, not beneficial whatsoever. High reverse T3 gives us an indication that we need to find that root cause. Is it because you have low iodine? Is it because you have inflammation or an underlying infection? Are you somehow not converting? Well, you aren't. If you have high reverse T3 and you're on thyroid medication, you're not converting T4 to T3 properly. If you're not on thyroid medication, then we have to say, do you need to be? Or are you just on T4 only and you're having issues converting it over to T3? Let's look at how to improve that conversion. Let's look at your magnesium and selenium and iodine and vitamin D levels, hormone levels, making sure you're not estrogen dominant. Let's test for Epstein-Barr virus and Lyme disease. Let's look at your iron panel with ferritin. All of those will drive up reverse T3 and will impair that T4 to T3 conversion. Insulin is a big one. If you have high insulin levels, if you're insulin resistant, if you have PCOS, like I do, if you have type 2 diabetes, you're going to be in an insulin resistant state. That insulin will be high. We're looking at insulin from a functional perspective, not just what's on your lab. Don't just get out your labs and say, oh, look, my insulin's in the normal range. It has to be below 6. And I'm not sure what it'd be in the bottom quadrant. If you are in a different country listening to this, it'd be in that bottom. If you chop the insulin lab value range into 4s, it'd be in that bottom fourth, that bottom quadrant. So that is insulin that we look at too, that drives up reverse T3. And then you want TPO and TGA antibodies. So thyroid peroxidase antibodies and thyroglobulin antibodies. Those two tests for Hashimoto's. Since 95% of all hypothyroidism is Hashimoto's, we want to test both of them. I've seen many people only have one of them tested. We want to test both TPO and TG antibodies. So those are all the labs. Those are your basic labs. Now, to kind of expand on that, you can get a T3 uptake. If they want to throw in total T4 and total T3, that's fine. Always a thyroid ultrasound to confirm Hashimoto's. We can just throw that in kind of once a year, even once every 5 years once you're optimized. But focus on those serum labs. Focus on the TSH, free T3, free T4, reverse T3, and TPO and TGA antibodies. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, please share this episode and check out the entire Thyroid Fixxr podcast on all podcast platforms. If you're on iTunes, it would be awesome if you left me a review. And just a reminder, anything you hear on this podcast is not intended to diagnose or treat. So you always want to check with your doctor about any advice given on this podcast. And if you'd like to schedule a discovery call, please refer to the show notes for all the links. Everything that we talked about in the podcast will be in there with a guide for you on how you can get your life back. Let's get you fixed.